Welcome to the Geeks Assembled podcast. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Hello, this is Geeks Assembled, and we are gathered today to discuss the Series 11, I guess it's the ninth episode called The Witchfinders. And it's got Alan Cumming and our fabulous TARDIS team. So I hope that's a good enough introduction. Let's go to Stephen Price. What were your opening thoughts on that one?
I thought this one was the best out of Series 11 so far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very, very, very dark. The witches, the faces, they stood out. You know, that's what I like, a darker episode like this. But it was really good.
Had you ever heard of the witch trials in Lancashire?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I haven't read into the history of it. You know, it's people go there on ghost hunt. You know, the Pendle witches and all this and that. But that's all I've known about it. That's all.
Cool. Here's Alex.
Yeah, I did enjoy this episode. I don't know how accurate it is, but that's fine. And of course, they didn't mention about their they did mention about the clothes, but they didn't change it. But I thought it had a great cast, great setting, great cast, and they did set up the right amount of tension. Alan Cumming, who has been in almost everything lately. Now he's been on CBS as sort of an Americanized detective. I don't know if they've gotten rid of that show or not, but he was also in Spice World, and he was in a lot of other projects. But of course, like I said, I did enjoy also that they did talk about feminism. They did talk about, God or not, and the only other thing, I didn't know if King James was gay or bisexual or not, but seemed to be giving that indication. Otherwise, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was well done. I thought there was a lot of dialogue in it, and I also thought that it was very, very smart, and I also did like the aliens, whether they were space witches or not. Don't really care. But I did, like I said, I did enjoy this. There's only about 3 other episodes of the whole season that I really enjoyed, and I only had a slight problem with a few minor points.
And I think you mean the Morax.
No problem.
Gosh, I mean, like mud aliens, creatures that were locked on Earth in a mound. I mean, yeah, that's a good reason for having a mound. I mean, the idea that these strange forms like berms and pyramids and mounds and things and henges and everything that's like going on is something that was developed by aliens and produced and left here is kind of an intriguing idea. And I really enjoyed Alan Cummings as King James. I love that he talked about trying to fight Satan and how he was trying to get, or he did get the first English language Bible written, published, and commissioned, written, and published during his lifetime. I mean, first of all, that's amazing, and second of all, it changed the liturgy of the Anglican Church from Latin into English, and that was pretty wonderful shift, because then just anybody can be part. But then he also, apparently during the exact same time, there was a huge witch hunt, and I don't know about really, but the Morax, the ancient technology in the tree, that was pretty cool because it kind of melted into the scenery, and the fact that all these women who were killed, suddenly their bodies were used as mobility devices for this alien species. That was pretty cool too. And I love the little bit of mud that was bouncing around like a Mexican jumping bean. That was pretty fun. And I guess I really enjoyed the whole thing. I liked, and so because I guess I've gone over and said my favorite bits, how about your favorite bits, Stephen?
Well, when I was watching it, because it's made in Wales, I know they've been filming in Sheffield in England. There's a part where they go into like an house, and they go up the stairs and they go into like a bedroom. Well, I know exactly where that is. They've been there a few times. That was filmed in Caerphilly in Wales. And they also filmed 2 scenes for Vincent and the Doctor when I came out in the same place. The place is called Lang Caerth Manor, which was the history of the place was it was visited by King Charles the First in I can't remember. 1645 or something like that. I may have got it wrong, but
That makes
that's the
sense.
history, and it's when you go there, is people in period costumes. They act out. What it was like in that time, Yeah, the episode. Alan Cummins. I remember him. Only thing I remember him in is in GoldenEye, where he's like a computer wizard.
Yep.
And he just freezes. He says, "I'm invincible," and he freezes up in the episode. I don't know if you can remember that. Yeah, the witch. I like the part where the Doctor was tied up, and they all thought she had drowned, and well, the Doctor can get out of that. About the witch trials, I don't know how they would have the Doctor would have coped if she had gone back in time to Matthew Hopkins, who was the biggest witch finder, and he killed 500 witches. That's the history of him,
Cool. Is that the one that was the Witchfinder General?
Yeah, but in the movie, he gets killed in the movie in the end. But that didn't happen in real life.
Was that the one played by Vincent Price?
Yeah, that's the one played by Vincent Price, yeah.
Very cool, Stephen. Awesome. Well, here's Alex. What are your favorite moments, man?
Well, like I said, I mean, the witch aliens or whatever they were, that was scary. The woman that was conducting the trials, like I said, I don't know how she thought she was so perfect. The Alan Cumming, again, was chewing up the scenery as only he does. So like I said, except for the few parts that I mentioned before, I really did enjoy this episode. I also enjoyed the tree branch, but it wasn't a tree, and the way that the Doctor escapes from it and, brings it sort of to a close. So there was only a few minor points. Like I said, their clothes, which I didn't understand why they couldn't have changed it a little bit. As far as that, though, ironically, the Amazon.com made a mistake, and they put it in Prime. They put it under Kerblam, the previous episode, so you could actually see it 3 to 4 days early. And also, Rotten Tomatoes gives Doctor Who anywhere from 82% to 95%. So it's funny how it is more famous than it used to be, but it's still a little bit of a cult following still.
There's not, it hasn't been this, the faces on the witches. It hasn't been that scary since Waters of Mars. I don't know if you remember Waters of Mars.
I'm not sure if they're actually trying to scare people. I think they're just trying to make it action-packed and hit all the bases. But it was scary. I mean, they didn't have normal faces. They sort of had wood-based, like when you look on the outside of a tree and you look at the trunk or the main body of the tree, not the branches, but the main body, and their faces kind of look like that. I mean, I think that's a little scary. But I don't think they were trying to out and outright scare people. I think it's more present challenges for the Doctor and the team, as it were. I don't think it was to really scare people. Besides, it is kind of scary. How would you feel if somebody said, well, we think you're a witch, so now we're going to kill you, and we hope you die, and that's how you prove you're not guilty? I mean, that's a little scary. And it's also a little scary that King James thought he was so, right with God that he almost, didn't admit that he made any mistakes, kind of. So, I mean, I think that's also kind of scary, too, that, he thought he was so perfect that he's just going to order everybody around. Everybody's going to say yes, and he's never wrong and stuff like that. I mean, it's a good thing they weren't fighting everybody in the world, or they probably would have had a lot of drownings, even more than they already did.
Okay, I gave some of my favorite moments earlier, and I guess I just like to add that I really think that Jodie and the TARDIS team in this were used really effectively. I mean, they split Ryan off to go with King James. They split Graham and Yaz off, and then they split the Doctor off. And so, I mean, like when they split them up into smaller groups, you get more going on in the story, and I really like that. And so. And I've liked that this whole series. So is there anything else you'd like to add, Stephen?
Yes. I enjoyed the cinematic, filming of the woods and all this and that. I thought it was great. One point I want to bring up before the series ends, are we going to see more of the interior of the TARDIS? Because that's all you see them, is around the same thing, like,
I agree. All right, yeah. Well, before you go, let's give your final say, okay? Final say and score, Alex.
Well, I can see that Rotten Tomatoes sort of agrees with my review of this episode, that there was a few minor points. the dialogue was written pretty good. Alan Cummings is chewing up the scenery. They did, address all the questions of the trial and why these people, why the Witchfinder and King James were on such a crusade. They did almost kill the Doctor. They tried to, and it didn't work. And then they had the wood witch type of aliens in the story. And I mean, that's a lot harder to balance than it sounds. So they could have been a lot worse. And I think they did a pretty reasonable job, if not a very, I'd give this about an 8 or maybe even a 9. Okay. That I think they did a pretty good job. And it's not too silly, but it's not too scary either.
Thanks. Okay, go ahead and finish what you're saying, Stephen, and then do your final say and score.
I enjoyed this episode. Very dark. It's my favorite episode of Series 11. I'd give it a 10.
Cool. Did you want to say anything else? You were talking about the darkness in it or whatever.
Yeah, the creepiness of it, when the dead, that's above the forest and all that. I like that, and all And Alan Cummings was played King James. He was gay in real life, so he done that campiness acting.
Yeah, he was camp, and he did a. Go ahead.
Yeah, and he's gay in real life anyway.
Yep. All right. Well, is there anything else, Stephen?
I hope they come up out with dark episodes like this. That's sort of my favorite type of stories.
Cool. Yeah.
I like to go, back to, go back to the Jack the Ripper days and, and all this and that, That sort of episode, that'll come out.
Now that would be properly scary, and gory.
Oh yeah.
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 Then hella dark. Anyway, so my favorite series, my really good doctor. I guess it's my favorite series of New Who. And I mean, I really compared it a lot to Peter Capaldi. And, but let's see, it wasn't like perfect for me. I'm going to have to give this like a 9.5. But so much good stuff in it. There was just so many good things about this episode. And I loved the fact that Amazon dropped it early. That thought was so funny. And
I got Prime, but I didn't get to see it because it was only Prime in the US.
Oh, okay. And it was only there for one day because they knew they screwed up.
Yeah.
Anyway, some of the people were trying to watch Kerblam and hadn't even seen Kerblam, and there was Witchfinders. Anyway, yeah, that's the problem with these things. Anyway, thanks for watching. So glad that we're still plugging along. We're reviewing Doctor Who at Geeks Assembled, and please like and subscribe. Go to our Facebook page, watch our videos there. Watch our videos on YouTube. Like them and share them, and then join us on public media. And Lee is looking for new faces, so get in touch with us. One of us. You'll probably find us tagged in our videos, and so you can find us on social media. And thank you, Stephen, and thank you, Alex, for joining me. And we'll see you in another week, another great adventure with the Doctor and the TARDIS team. Bye-bye.
Yep. Bye.